What you are about to hear is heavily suppressed information. In the debate between Afrocentrists and mainstream historians about the influence of blacks throughout history, these quotes play a vital role, and yet strangely enough, the experts never mention them. This video will show you why. Taken from the works of writers from the ancient world up until the late Middle Ages, we will unearth forgotten historical accounts detailing who the Berbers of North Africa once were, before the sands of time transformed North Africa into its present state. These accounts will challenge greatly what you thought you knew of the world. Should this happen, then so be it. Be challenged, but do not deny. And so we begin with the ancient Getulii, a Berber clan who in past times inhabited the region of Libya. Without further ado, the Berbers, from the lips of those who saw them. Did I complain just now that the wine set before you was not the same as Viro's? Why, the very water you drink is different. Your cups will be handed you by a running footman from Getulia, or the bony hand of some Moor, so black that you would rather not meet him at midnight. Roman satirist Juvenal, in the Satires Book 5, circa 100 AD, as translated by Lewis Evans in 1889. When tired of each noblest matron, Gildo hands her over to the Moors. Married in Carthage city, the Sidonian mother's needs must mate with barbarians. He thrusts upon me an Ethiopian as a son-in-law, a Berber as a husband. The hideous half-breed child affrights its cradle. Thanks to those base allies, his state is more regal than that of the emperor himself. Roman poet Claudian, writing circa 400 AD, translation published in Lieb Classical Library, 1922. It is not neglected, this connection to the Masmudas, who are men in the far reaches of Morocco who have many lands, and they are a tall black people who have memorized the Book of God Almighty. From the Kitab al-Ansab by Iranian medieval scholar Ibn al-Samani, contemporary of the Almohad Moors of North Africa, writing in the 12th century AD. Concerning the factions in the army of the Black Fatimid Caliph al-Munstansir Billah. The first faction is that of the Ketemi, who came from Kairounan with Muiz Lidin Ilah. They are, I am told, 20,000 horsemen. The second is that of the Batili. They are people from the Maghreb, who were stationed in Egypt before the arrival of Muiz Lidin Ilah. They are on horseback, and their number amounts to 15,000 men. The third is that of the Masmudi Berbers. They are blacks, from the country of Masmud. They are 20,000, I was assured. If from Egypt we go south, and if we go beyond Nubia, we arrive at the country of the Masmudi, a vast region covered with pastures and filled with herds. The inhabitants, who have black skin, are of a vigorous build. We see many soldiers from this country in Egypt. They are ugly, and they have a tall stature. They are called Masmudi. They fight on foot with the saber and the spear and do not know how to use other weapons. Persian scholar, historian and geographer Nasser Khusro, in Safar-Nama, the Book of Travels, circa 1050 AD. The Berber women are from the island of Barbara, which is between the west and the south. Their color is mostly black, aswad, though some pale ones can be found among them. If you can find one whose mother is of Kutama, whose father is of Sanhaja, and whose origin is Mazmuda, then you will find her naturally inclined to obedience and loyalty in all matters, active in service, suited both to motherhood and to pleasure, for they are the most solicitous in caring for their children. Arab Christian theologian and physician Ibn Butlan, writing in the 11th century AD. The veiled Sanhaja Berbers came from near the country of the Abyssinians and settled between the land of the Berbers and the land of the Sudan, forming a barrier between the two. These veiled Sanhaja and their tribes have to this day occupied the areas near the Blacks, Al-Aswad, as a barrier between them and the sands which border the land of the Berbers of the two Maghrebs and Africa. 14th century sociologist and historian Ibn Khaldun, writing in the Book of Lessons, or Kitab al-Ibar. Genetic tests can and have been manipulated. The same goes for anthropological tests. Even artistic reconstructions of ancient artifacts are often fabricated to give false impressions. But one thing that stands the test of time is the account of ancient people who wrote about what they saw and heard up close. You have just heard some of these accounts, and the verdict is in. Black Africans were an equal, if not greater part of North Africa's ancient past. Rather than being airbrushed out of this rich history, with the usual suspects clutching their pearls whenever Hollywood depicts us in the spaces that rightfully belong to us, the world must now acknowledge the greatness of Black history alongside the history of all the other peoples of the world. Make no mistake, we are not asking, we are inevitable. From Cush to Compton, we are trail black, no doubt.